On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumna, Dr. Louise Bessette, to address Convocation.
Chancellor Cohen, President Chakma, Dean Betty-Ann Yanker, honor guests, PhD students, and undergraduate students from the Faculty of Arts and Humanities and the Honorary Faculty of Music, their friends and families. It is a great honor for me, and I must say also deeply moving, to receive a doctorate in music honoris causa from the University of Western Ontario. First, I would like to thank warmly all the people who made this unforgettable event possible. For me, this wonderful honor is not merely an achievement. In fact, it gives me the energy to keep going. I wish to share with the world my passion for music and to share with music lovers the emotion I feel in every note I play. Talking about the subject that I know best, the music world is like a big family. Thinking about my piano teachers or mentors, I remember each of them very well and what they brought to me. When I was 5 years old and when I was 12, 18, 25, each of my different teachers believed in my musical talent and helped me to understand how precious it was and would continue to be in my life. What happens in a normal family when one of the children shows a kind of extraordinary talent for something? My parents were certainly surprised about my great facility to learn music. At the same time, I know and I can feel how much music was important to my family. My father, 94 years old, my warm thoughts to him, always loved music, especially opera. He lived on a farm when he was young, and his father was a fiddle player. My grandfather was asked to play for parties and weddings. He died 1 year before I was born. What a shame that I never had the chance to hear him play, but I'm sure that a part of his heritage is inside me. My mother was never a professional musician, but she played piano and organ. She played organ at the Église de la Visitation in Montreal, as did my grandmother before her. This is the church where my parents married, and I'm proud and happy to live just nearby this church, which means so much to me. I am the youngest of a family of 4 children. Life was not very easy at home. My only brother was born with intellectual handicaps. My oldest sister, who also studied piano for many years, had a sudden and serious nervous breakdown which seemed to last forever. My other sister had a master's degree from the Université de Montréal and worked in a library until she retired. When I entered the Conservatoire de Musique de Montréal at the age of 12, I became more and more passionate about music. At that time, I realized that I had a new family. My colleagues and my teachers appeared to be my musical family. Pianist Anne-Marie de Noncourt, who is sitting in this hall, listening and smiling at me, is an important part of my musical family. Many thanks for being here with me, Anne-Marie. In 1976, my piano teacher, Raoul Souza, thought that it would be a good idea for me to learn a piece by French composer Olivier Messiaen. The Première Communion de la Vierge, number 11 of the 20 Regards sur l'Enfant Jésus, was my introduction to Messiaen's world. I was seduced by the pianistic language of the composer, as well as the important themes of his life, his deep faith in God, his love for birds and nature. After I received my master's degree from the Conservatoire, I spent 2 more years in Montreal taking private lessons with Eugene Liszt in New York, playing my very first concert with the Société de musique contemporaine du Québec under the baton of conductor and composer Serge Garand, and learning more of Messiaen's music. In 1982, thanks to the generous support of the Canada Council for the Arts, I decided to move to Paris to study with internationally renowned pianist Yvonne Loriot, Olivier Messiaen's wife. This was my first goal, but I must say that I also felt very strongly that I had to go away from home. I profoundly needed to grow as an artist and as a person. I first thought to stay 1 year in Paris and see how things would go for me there. Well, I finally spent 14 years in wonderful Paris city light. Yvonne Loriot took me under her wing, and she called me ma petite fille canadienne. The 1980s in Paris were for me the time of participating in music competitions, meeting composers, many of them had studied with Messiaen, performing world premieres as composers started to write especially for me. It is also the time that I started to work with my artistic agent, Barbara Scales. Barbara is probably the person who knows most about my musical path. She knows my goals, my doubts, my dreams. Thank you so much, Barbara, for all the energy you put in my musical career. And thank you for being here with us for this very special day. During those years in Paris, a new component started to take form in my musical life: heritage. I think that what we accomplish during our lifetime is very important, and I must say that it becomes even more important when we realize that our accomplishments are left in legacy to the people who come after us. We then become part of history. It makes me think how precious are recordings. I have wonderful memory of my recording of Canadian music with producer David Yeager in Toronto. And I am very touched by your presence in London today, David. Warm thanks to you. Olivier Messiaen had many students from all over the world. We can hear his influences in music written by his former students, who, of course, developed their own style as well. To name just a few of them, French composers Gilbert Ramy, Pierre Boulez, Bruno Ducol, Alain Gaussin, and Canadian composers Bruce Mather and Gilles Tremblay, who became Messiaen's spiritual son. Gilles Tremblay had also many students at the Conservatoire de musique de Montréal, and a lot of them wrote for me. Each new work represents the evolution of music history. A few years ago, I was happy to add to my repertoire a huge and fantastic piano piece by Canadian Paul Freiner, Finnegan's Quarks Revival. Thank you for your wonderful music and for being my host here in London. After 14 years in Paris, I felt that it was time for me to come back to my country. It was also important for me to get closer to my parents as they were getting old. And as a grown person, and with the passing of time and the events of life, it was my turn now, before I got too old, to establish a family. My husband and I have a wonderful son, Antoine, who today is working hard for his high school final exams. Antoine was born 1 month before my mother died. Very sad, but I thank God that the two of them could meet. I think that you will not be surprised if I tell you that Antoine is of course, the most beautiful boy in the world. His passions, history, sports, and music. He writes music from time to time, and he plays cello accompanied by his mother. What will he become later? For now, I just can't tell. But I feel confident that life will bring him to the right place at the right moment. Talking about my family, I now think about all of you, wonderful students of the University of Western Ontario. PhD students and undergraduate students from the Faculty of Arts and Humanities and the Donright Faculty of Music, I first want to offer you my sincere congratulations. Coming from different parts of the world, you are studying here in London, and I am sure that you all work very hard with your wonderful professors. You all have goals and dreams. It is important to believe strongly in what you do. If you have faith, confidence, and passion, be assured that you will be able to build your career and your life. You must be proud to be part of the University of Western Ontario, which is highly regarded and widely renowned in Canada and abroad. You are part of the history of Canada. I want to say good luck and to offer you my very best wishes for the future. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for this honor and for your attention. Avec tout mon cœur, merci beaucoup.